All right, my name is Brandon Woodson. Today we're going to talk about how to start up and host your first Airbnb. Anybody who does Airbnb listing as just to make some extra side money, I mean, you can make an extra $20,000 to $30,000 a year. You can make anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000, $4,000 extra a month by just renting out apartment properties to guests and listing on Airbnb. So I've been doing Airbnb about 7 months. I started back in February. It's been going really good. I have a listing in downtown Dallas, which is a very high traffic area. I get a lot of bookings. I have about anywhere from a 90 to 95% booking rate, which basically means the entire month there's somebody in the Airbnb at all times. So it's doing great, and I kind of want to just share some tips and some things that I've learned over the last 7 months of how to host an Airbnb. There's 3 points I'm going to review. There's one, your budget. So how do you budget for this? Where do you look? Where do you want to be? Who's your customer? Number 2 is going to be the actual listing. When you list it, what to put on your listing, what people look for when they're trying to book your Airbnb. And then 3 is strategies. What strategies to do, what you should do, what you shouldn't do to maximize your profits hosting Airbnb. All right, so number 1 is the business plan. Just like any other business, Airbnb hosting is something that you'll need to write a business plan for. All right, so with your business plan, you want to basically touch on 3 things. You want to touch on where you're going to stay. You need to touch on how much it's going to cost for you to stay there. And then you need to touch on how much it's going to cost for you to actually furnish the Airbnb. Me specifically, my Airbnb is in downtown Dallas. It's a very high traffic area. A lot of people come in there from doctors, from people coming in to see concerts, Cowboys games, fights, Mavericks games, all kind of different. I mean, people just come out there just to tour and see the city. So I have a very high traffic areas, therefore my profits are like through the roof because everybody comes to downtown Dallas. So typically you want a high traffic area where people come, where people tour, big cities. Typically downtown areas is where you want to list your Airbnb. You also want to look at how much you're going to charge for your nightly rates. And a trick that I use, I don't know if it's a trick, but something that I do is I look in the surrounding areas. If I see an apartment that's luxurious apartments in Dallas, I'll look up the address. It might be 123 Main Street. I'll type that into Airbnb and I'll see who's actually hosting in that area. So you can literally go to the website and look at the listing and you can match up, hey, this room is in this specific building. So you'll be able to check what they have in their apartment, what they have in their listing, how much they're charging a night, and you can kind of duplicate that or feed off of that to do your list. Me and my Airbnb, I have all your basic things. I have a couch, I have a blow-up bed, linens, towels, iron, all that good stuff, TV. I don't have cable, but I do have Wi-Fi. So typically, to go the cheaper route, you can get Wi-Fi, but get a Roku. They're like 25, 40 bucks. And you can have Netflix on there, direct now cable to where you can stream your cable so you don't have to pay for Wi-Fi and a cable service. All right, so the second point I'm going to touch on is the actual listing. When you have everything ready, when you have your apartment picked out, you got your move-in date, you have everything furnished, and you're ready to actually start up your listing and host an Airbnb. So basically, hosting an Airbnb and setting everything up is pretty user-friendly. They walk you through everything. It's very specific, and it goes through step-by-step, starting with your name, what you want your profile picture to be, your description of your listing, all that good stuff. It'll walk you step by step on how to list your Airbnb. The key things you want to look at in your listing is basically what is going to grab your customer's eye. So typically in a downtown area, you want to touch on, hey, this is a beautiful loft-like apartment that overlooks downtown Houston, downtown Dallas, New York, wherever you're going to do your listing, and kind of touch on what's around your Airbnb, not just what's in it, but what are people able to do around it, whether there's restaurants, whether you're close to the American Airlines Center, close to a specific stadium. You want to list and you want to describe all that stuff in your listing. Secondly, you want to list all your amenities. So I can't stress this enough how picky some people are. They'll pick another Airbnb or over another one just because they might have a coffee maker or they know they have an ironing board and things like that. So you need to make sure that you're listing everything that you have in your apartment to basically service your guests. Also, you want to make sure you have really good photos. You want to make sure your lighting is good. You want to make sure you're using some type of iPhone 4K something. Or if you want to spend the money, or you have a friend that's a photographer that has a Canon camera and that knows how to capture the angles, you want to get them to go in and take a picture of your Airbnb, because you will be surprised how different the difference a picture can make. About 60% of the market of your customers are basically going to book your Airbnb based off of the type of pictures you have. So if you have really good pictures, good lighting, it looks really nice and very inviting, you're going to get a booking off top, because that's the first thing they see. They might skim over the title, but the big picture, once they're scrolling, is going to be the first thing that kind of draws them into your listing. So during your listing, you're going to want to make sure that you have very clear check-in instructions. The worst thing you can do is have somebody show up to your Airbnb and them struggle with being able to get inside. So you want to have crystal clear check-in instructions. The best way to do it is to have self-check-in, whether it be a lockbox, whether you leave your keys somewhere that only your guests can find. But the best way is to not have any contact. You don't have to meet your customer face-to-face. Give them clear instructions and let them check in themselves, and just give your number to them. If they need anything, they can text you. But typically, all my customers, I do not even see them. So I'm basically making money without even having to meet the customer. So another thing I want to touch on is the cleanliness of the apartment. So the number one way that you can get a bad rating is a dirty apartment. So once you come into the apartment, you can either hire a cleaning service or you can do it yourself. So me personally, I do mine myself. I'm a clean freak, so anything that I clean, I feel like I'm gonna do just as well as any cleaning service. And you can keep all of the money that you charge for your cleaning fee. So I charge anywhere from $50 to $75 for my cleaning fee. And typically when you're in a 1-bedroom apartment, it's really not that dirty. You might have to come in there, wipe the counters down, mop the floor, change out the linens and the towels, wash the tub and the toilet, and you're done. It takes me less than an hour. But because I'm doing it myself, I'm gonna keep that extra $50 and $75 rather than paying a cleaning service. So the third thing we're gonna talk about is strategy. So people have to understand that Airbnb hosting is not real estate. It has nothing to do with real estate aside from that you're listing out to customers and they're staying in your unit. Airbnb is all about hospitality. The key about Airbnb hosting to maximize your profits is to have 5-star reviews, to become a super host, and to have great hospitality that makes people want to book with you. So the first strategy is, once you've actually listed your Airbnb and you're ready to put it on the market, is incentives. Once you first list your Airbnb, you're not gonna be able to charge $100, $150 a night. You're gonna have to be patient your first month. You might break even, you might even go a little bit under and not make as much, but the key thing is kind of set yourself up for success in the future. You want to make sure that you're getting as many bookings as you can and that you're getting 5-star ratings. So your first month, you're going to have to do your 20% off your first 4 bookings. You're going to have to give incentives, waive the cleaning fee, or different type of things that are going to draw people to your Airbnb and get you to book. Because typically when you're first starting out, a lot of people aren't going to book with somebody who doesn't have a lot of ratings or doesn't have a lot of reviews. So you're going to have to bite the bullet, you're going to have to give the discounts, and you're going to have to get your reviews up and get your ratings up. Then once you get that superhost status, then you'll be able to kind of mark up your prices, because you have reviews and you have ratings to actually back up your Airbnb. When you're a superhost, your listing is actually going to get viewed a lot more than if you're not a superhost. So there's actually a filter where customers will say, hey, I only want a superhost. Only show me what listings are superhosts. And basically these are people that get 5-star reviews, have the best hospitality, have nothing but good reviews and good ratings, and that's kind of what people want. People want the best. The number one advice I can give to you guys is to just do it. You got to get out of your comfort zone. A lot of people are nervous, they kind of put things off, but you got to just kind of go for it. If you want to go in it with your friend, if you want to do it by yourself, take the time to write out your business plan, budget for what you want to get, and just do it. I mean, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to be able to start something new if you want to see some type of result. So that concludes the startup tutorial on how to host an Airbnb. If you guys have some questions or you guys have some things you want me to touch on in the next video, I can. Just either DM me or leave a comment under the post, and I can take all that and kind of put something else together for another video that you guys might be interested in the future.